first thought. That includes misreporting profits and borrowing money to pay debts. Well, BT has now fired its Italian management team. But the British boss, Gavin Patterson, now faces questions over how the problems were allowed to occur in the first place. You're right up to date with all the business news. See you very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dress code is an interesting issue,
yes,
isn't it? Having to wear high heels, makeup, shorter skirts, or even dyeing hair. Those are just some examples of what women say they've been asked to do for their job.
Now MPs are calling on the government to take action against discriminatory dress codes. We'll have a look at some of the stories that they've been told. For example, one air hostess described feeling humiliated due to company uniform policy.
Or adding there was one set of clothing rules for men and one different one for women. Another woman working in a jewellery store said wearing high heels caused her serious pain.
A retail worker told MPs she was offended by company dress rules, which she said attracted unwanted attention from customers.
Let's get some more on this. Nicola Thorpe launched a petition to Parliament after her experience of dress code discrimination. She's in central London. Good morning to you. And we're also joined by Francke, Chief Executive of the Chartered Management Institute, which promotes practice in business leadership. Nice to have you both on the programme again. Nicola, let's come to you first of all. Can you just run us through, for those joining this story for the first time, what exactly happened to you and what was the process that you went through?
Well, last year I turned up for my first day as a job as a receptionist for an accountancy firm in central London, and I turned up in the usual uniform, a suit, and smart flat shoes, and I was told that it was their company policy that I had to wear 2 to 4 inch heels for the whole day's work, and I refused, so I was sent home.
You refused what? And they wanted you to do what? Go out and buy these shoes and then have to wear them?
Yeah, they said the only way I could work that day is if I went out and bought a pair of shoes and wore them at reception. And I said no, and so I was sent home.
And did they tell you at the time, so why did they think you had to wear heels? Because of the impression that they felt that you should be giving?
That's what they said. They said it was an industry-wide practice. And I actually, that day, I saw women who were working higher up in that accountancy firm wearing flat shoes. I said, well, they're not wearing flat shoes. It's obviously not for everybody within this company at a higher level. So why are you asking us to wear them? And it turned out it was because the agency that I worked for, and they're a nationwide agency, they insisted that all girls wore high-heeled shoes and makeup, a minimum of 5 items of makeup. We had a colour chart of acceptable shades that we had to wear, but men obviously didn't have to adhere to the same rules. So I suggested to them that their dress code was sexist, and I was laughed out of the building.
Right, OK, Anne, she's not alone. You've looked at this sort of thing, and what have you been finding?
Well, unfortunately, what we found at our research is that gender discrimination is still very widespread. So 4 out of 5 managers have experienced it in the workplace in the last year. There are the dress code examples. Equally, there are inappropriate remarks, interrupting women at meetings, and then lack of promotion and unequal pay. So quite a lot to be done still.
And lots of people getting involved in this as well, contacting the programme. Wendy, I may be old school, but I think dress codes should apply. They shouldn't and don't need to be sexist. It creates a better attitude. I think that's an important point, isn't it? Because there can be a dress code. Nicola, feel free to come in on this as well. There can be a dress code, but across the sexes.
Yeah, I agree that dress codes are important for business, that they project that professional, smart image. But my case and the thousands of other women who have had similar experiences, they were being told they needed to look attractive in order to do their job. And their male counterparts weren't simply being told the same thing.
And I'm wondering, I mean, and things have changed with regard to these, what Nicola's talking about, particular companies, as far as I understand. What do you think needs to be changed? How do attitudes change? How do people perhaps see that
Culture,
differently?
It is absolutely, it is a cultural issue. We think that men need to become more involved as role models. So we know that the majority of men support gender equality in the workplace. Our survey showed 80% do support this. So what we want is for men and women to call out these bad examples, be they of behavior, dress codes, lack of promotion opportunity. And we want companies to follow best practice. And we do have at CMI a website, CMI Women Blueprint for Balance, where you can go and look and see what others are doing to really tackle this issue.
Nicola, what do you feel about the publicity your case attracted and the fact that, you know, we're talking about it here, MPs have asked government to act and so many people seem to have a view on this issue?
Yeah, it's fantastic because it's meant that hundreds of women have come out of the woodwork and said, you know, this happened to me, but I didn't feel like I could bring it up at work because they had the fear that they might lose their job. A lot of these women are on zero-hour contracts or are temporary workers. But even women with permanent contracts were scared, you know, that they were going to lose their livelihood because at the moment, the current structure that we have legally, it benefits the employers because the penalty isn't big enough to scare them into following dress code laws. So what they do is they say to women, you know, you have to do this, you have to wear that, because the likelihood of a woman paying to take that employer to an employment tribunal is very, very low. So they just get away with it. So the law needs to change, not just on dress code policy, but on discrimination across the board and across all protected characteristics.
Let's pick up exactly that point with Anne about calling out, because that's an uncomfortable, for all those reasons you just said, Nicola, actually, it's an uncomfortable place to be, isn't it?
It is an uncomfortable place, but I would encourage people to come forward, as Nicola has done, because that's how we'll change the culture, when people see it's no longer acceptable to behave that way. And I would remind employers, a gender-balanced workplace is a better workplace. It's more productive, it's happier. There's very good commercial reasons for ending discrimination.
Let me read a few more comments. Sandra says, we have had uniform change at work. Now we have to wear a white shirt and a tie. Having to serve food in a busy environment, it's going to be a nightmare in the summer when it's hot. We have the added problem of makeup on our collars, which, from our perspective, just doesn't look nice. And Trudy says, surely it's more about not sexualising dress. Asking staff to be smart is not the same as asking a woman to wear short skirts, high heels and lipstick. Would you expect a man to be asked to wear anything that draws attention to their bodies?
Do you want to pick up on that point?
Well, that's exactly the point. It can't be discriminatory. It's fine if you're in a hairdresser and you have to wear all black because, you know, you want to project a cool image, or you're serving food and the uniform is white with a tie. That's fine, as long as it isn't exactly as has been said, sexualizing women.
Nicola, do you think things are changing, just very briefly?
Yes, absolutely. After the petition and the media coverage that it's got, I'm very grateful that people are debating this and talking about it. It just means that now I think companies will think twice when they think about their dress code policies.
Thank you. Thank you both very much indeed. And thank you for all your comments as well. So many people are getting in touch.
Let's get some news, some travel and some weather wherever you're watching. See you in a few minutes' time.